Hello, sweet friends. It's Sarah at Crochet.With.Coffee. And my plan this week was to have a tutorial or a review video for today, but sometimes things don't go as planned. So instead, I decided I wanted to take you along with me through a day in the life of Crochet.With.Coffee and Sarah. Some days, my life feels exactly the way I always hoped it would. Slow mornings, warm coffee, a pile of yarn, a home filled with love and little routines that make life feel soft. This morning starts the way most of my favorite mornings do, nice and quiet. I love the sound of brewing coffee while the house is still sleepy, and I love picking out a mug that matches the colors of my current project. There's something comforting about these tiny routines. The sound of coffee pouring, morning light through the windows, and projects waiting patiently for me at the kitchen table. I love staying home, working on projects, taking care of our space, spending time with family. Even the little ordinary parts of life feel meaningful. So before I sit down to crochet, I spend a little time resetting the house, like wiping down the counters, straightening the blankets, putting away dishes that somehow multiplied overnight. I'm never really sure how that happens. Tiny chores that aren't exciting, but somehow make everything feel calmer afterwards. I love getting those accomplished. And honestly, most days my life really is peaceful, but sometimes my mind still feels really loud. Sometimes I look at all the yarn waiting for me, and instead of feeling inspired, I feel really overwhelmed. I think about all the projects I want to start, all the projects I should finish, and suddenly the things I love begin to feel heavy. Let me know if you feel that way too sometimes. Crafting is no longer just a hobby for me, it's also my work. And sometimes that becomes confusing to my brain. Sometimes I want to crochet quietly without setting up a camera and without thinking about lighting or what thumbnail I should make, or whether something is productive enough to film. Sometimes I want to create because it calms my heart. So today became less about accomplishing something and more about slowing down enough to enjoy the process again. Earlier this week, I sat down with my fox cardigan and immediately realized something wasn't working. I know when I started this project, the yarn was thinner than what the project called for, and it really ended up making my stitches look messy and uneven. And I can feel myself wanting to rush through it anyway, just so I can finish it and move on to the next thing. But lately, I've been noticing how often I do that. I rush through projects, I rush through chores, I rush through life, and trying so hard to get finished result that I forget to enjoy being in the middle of it. So today I frogged the cardigan. And honestly, it feels like a really good reminder. Not everything needs to be forced to work just because we already started it. Sometimes slowing down is the better choice. The thinner yarn is actually perfect for another project I'm working on, which somehow makes the whole thing feel less frustrating and more like everything found its place. So when I'm ready to start the fox cardigan again, I decided to switch to something a little darker and a little thicker, something that feels softer and sturdier for the cardigan I actually want to make. No rushing next time. I'm just going to take it slow and take it one stitch at a time and enjoy the process, which will also help with all that color work that I know I need to do with that cardigan. So later in the afternoon, I grabbed a few things that were around the house that we no longer needed, and I put them into the car so I could donate them. So after I loaded everything into the car, I headed to the thrift stores. Normally I like to do this on Monday, but I didn't get around to that earlier this week, so I figured today would be the perfect day for that. I love to walk slowly through the aisles, looking at all the old dishes and the baskets and the books and half finished craft supplies. There's just something comforting about thrift stores to me. Maybe it's because everything there feels lived in, like every object already carries a story. And I love when I find things that are very nostalgic feeling. That's my favorite thing to find in the thrift store. I love moments where I'm not trying to accomplish something and not trying to be productive, not trying to hurry towards the next thing, just existing quietly inside a regular old day. Once I got home, I pulled out my sock yarn that I showed you guys on Monday. There's something so calming about caking up yarn at the end of the day, watching it slowly wind into itself and turning those loose strands into something organized and ready for a new beginning. And tonight, that beginning is a new pair of socks. So I am determined to not have any deadlines, no pressure, and no expectations for perfection for these socks. I would like them to be as perfect as possible, especially because I'm going to take it really slow making these. Just the quiet rhythm of knitting while the day slowly comes to an end. None of these moments are big or exciting on their own, but together they felt meaningful. Like a reminder that life doesn't always have to move fast to matter. Maybe peace is found in the small things we rush past every day. Maybe a calm life isn't built from huge moments, but from tiny routines repeated with care. Cleaning the kitchen, crocheting slowly, starting over when something doesn't feel right, dropping off donations, walking through a thrift store, and beginning a new pair of socks. None of this is extraordinary, but maybe that's the point. So today, I hope you enjoyed spending time with me while I did the regular old stuff through the day. I'm really glad you just hung out with me and spent the day with me. No pressure, no rushing, just normal life, soft moments, and learning how to calm my heart again. So, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day and that you find joy in the little things.